I echo other participants and thank you again to the Academy for the kind invitation. I'm an associate for AI Governance in the Future Society, which is an independent nonprofit born in 2014, dedicated to aligning AI through better governance. Our work currently concentrates on general purpose AI models, frontier AI models, no more definitions, that pose systemic and existential risks. We aim to ensure that these powerful technologies are safe, uphold fundamental rights, and are truly serving the public interest. We've agreed that we are confronted with great concentration of power, enormous investments poured onto our technology with rapid expanding capabilities, and now face some crucial questions. How do we deal with the impact that AI is having on people's lives, work, and well-being? How can we defend those freedoms, dignity, and agency that constitute the very core of what makes us human beings? And most importantly, how do we face the very high stakes together as global citizens? I particularly appreciate the way the theme of AI sustainability was framed for this session, and Gustavo showcased it yesterday very, very well, that sustainability goes beyond environmental and economic implications. It also means refusing those unacceptable, irreversible, unsustainable risks. And it means that as a society, we must draw clear red lines for artificial intelligence that are non-negotiable limits on uses and behaviors to defend that same dignity, agency, social cohesion, and life itself. We do not speak in abstract terms. Those risks are happening now. So no future talk, present talk. There have been tragic cases in the US of people relying on unregulated chatbots to receive advice that contributed to taking their own lives. I have friends in the US who use GPT for medical and psychological advice, and that worries me very much. There are AI image generators that created child sexual abuse material. We've just learned a couple months ago about Meta's inappropriate chat guidelines with minors. We've discussed automated cyber warfare and geopolitical destabilization that are accelerating because of AI. Thank you to Daniel, to Professor Inerarity. We've seen how social manipulation and misinformation contributes to both isolation and eroding the trust in the democratic processes, and how the loss of human control, especially with systems that lack human override, brings risks that demand practical, enforceable, cross-border, and I underline cross-border boundaries. And all of this while AI platforms are concentrated in the hands of a very few, not very diverse group of people, and that are increasingly intertwined with national security, which, as we know, is one of those fields that escapes red lines even when they are in place. And this is precisely why, in the end of September at the UN General Assembly, we, together with the French Center for AI Safety and the Center for Human Compatible AI at UC Berkeley, we launched a global call for AI red lines. Over 300 thought leaders, some are in the room, so I thank you again for the support, including 15 Nobel laureates and Turing Award winners, and over 90 organizations signed our call to urge governments to coordinate and develop operational enforceable limits for AI by 2026. And the resonance that the campaign had shows that communities across sectors and geographies recognize the need to define those red lines. So it's not an if, it's a what. And red lines can take many forms. They're not always called red lines, of course, but more broadly, they refer to AI uses, so what AI shouldn't be used for, or AI behaviors, what AI shouldn't be capable of doing. We've mentioned many already. Examples of uses include prohibiting AI impersonation. So even if a system may technically be capable of generating highly realistic voices, videos, text that mimics a specific individual, asking it to impersonate someone is not permitted. Or prohibiting AI systems to be used to create, share, and engage with any sexual or inappropriate content involving children. prohibiting AI systems to be used for mass surveillance and social scoring, or we've discussed this in weapon systems that autonomously select and engage with human targets without meaningful human control. While examples of behaviors could include requiring AI systems by design to never impersonate being human. This means that the system must be intrinsically constrained from generating content that may mislead users to believing it is a human being. Or another example, banning self-replicating and self-improving AI without human oversight. And many of these bans already exist, national level, international level, and they range from soft to hard law. The EU AI Act explicitly bans certain uses of AI that are deemed unacceptable. There's the Brazilian AI bill that proposes bans on predictive policing and social scoring. There are US sectoral laws, UN treaties, the G7 Hiroshima AI process, supported by the OECD, the Beijing Consensus Statement, just to name a few. So, and we should be honest, we are in a time where international cooperation and frameworks are suffering from continuous attacks and delegitimization. But these precedents show that red lines are feasible and that we must move towards a coherent, globally coordinated framework. And again, to quote Gustavo, we don't want zombie legislation either, right? So for these limits to be meaningful, we need robust verification, transparent, independent oversight that enables all parties, governments, businesses, civil society alike to objectively check that no system crosses any given red line. And we need to basically harmonize and converge years of global standards, corporate pledges, and legislative frameworks. We are not starting from scratch. And all parallel initiatives from Europe, Latin America, and elsewhere can and should converge towards enforceable universal protections for dignity, safety, and basic human rights. We should not kid ourselves. There is no magic wand. It will not be an easy task. And building and enforcing global AI red lines faces major hurdles. For once, we know there's not always a lack of political will to move things forwards, and there is strong geopolitical fragmentation that renders defining universally unacceptable risks across diverse cultures and diverse legal systems hard. We know that many concerning AI behaviors manifest in unpredictable ways, and this means that technically monitoring and verifying complex, opaque AI models is hard, and the burden of proof must lie in the hand of the DDI developers. And if they cannot empirically demonstrate that their system will not cross established red lines by making a reasonable evidence-based safety case, they should not be allowed to develop or deploy it. And again, we currently lack global infrastructure to oversee and enforce any given AI red line. And most multilateral statements and corporate commitments are non-binding and lack accountability and enforcement. So, to have a more positive look after this many hurdles, overcoming these obstacles will require coalition building, will require track two diplomacy. And I think that moments like this are precisely the things that need to be happening right now, alongside with oversight bodies that are independent, legitimate, and that have the resources to act. That's also key. And monitoring and verification should not lag behind red lines. It should evolve with them. And these efforts are underway, but we need to advance more quickly to match the pace of AI development. In closing, this pivotal moment carries real momentum, as we've seen with the call for red lines, but the time window is closing, and we need to grab the chance to set those rules that will safeguard society for generations to come. And these efforts don't need to cover every possible red line. We can focus on those that already are, that enjoy broad support, and those that I've mentioned do. So we are all aware that the road before us is tortuous and uphill, But I do believe that desisting from the climb would be an unsustainable opportunity cost. Thank you.